What's up, everybody? This is Alex from WMD. Today we are going to take a look at the WMD TRIAD. The TRIAD is an expansion to our Arpitecht module, which is an arpeggio generator as well as quantizer. So we have plenty of videos on the Arpitecht showing you exactly how it works and how we like to use it. A lot of times we use the notes knob and input to choose what kind of chord shape or what kind of what note combination we're going to use. So the TRIAD works very, very similar to where it has a TRIAD knob, a new note output, 3 outputs for your volt per octave for your oscillators, a TRIAD input as well as an inversion input. The inversion just switches this switch, so you can plug static voltages into it and change which inversion you're gonna play. So and then the TRIAD input is just a direct input into the TRIAD knob, basically. So as you can see, I've got voltage block here. I've got one output of voltage block going into Arpitecht. That's going into the notes input. And I've got one output going straight into my TRIAD. So channel 7 is going into my Arpitecht. Channel 8 is going into my TRIAD. So as I play this, you can see step 1 right here. I've got a C minor TRIAD. So if I bring this all the way down, both my voltages are sitting 0 volts right now. And you can see that I've got just one note on the TRIAD. All of my oscillators are playing one note. So a common misconception is to throw like a LFO or a gate signal or something like that into the TRIAD. And that will basically just turn this knob super crazy and just give you one of these kind of things. So what we're looking for is something to change this knob and stay there for a little while and then change and give you chord progressions, right? So what we like to use is step sequencers such as the make noise pressure points or voltage block, which I have here. So how we recommend to use it is step 1, we select what chord we're going to play. So right now I've got C minor TRIAD on step 1. I go to step 2. I've already got this little TRIAD here. That's from the thing you heard earlier. Basically what I'm using this for is like a D sharp minor 7th chord kind of thing, right? So that sounds nice with the thing of the with this transitional note I have on the Arpitecht. Little dissonant. But then coming into here, I've selected this chord here, which I guess would be a G sharp major. And then from here, I step back down, and that's more of like a D kind of chord. Or a G, sorry, excuse me. So that's my G chord, and that's basically like a G7. So I have G, F, and D here. So my envelopes for my chords, basically my chord setup is I have 3 oscillators. I have this tiny PDO, so a PDO Mark 1, and 2 Spectrum oscillators. Those are being mixed in the blender going into the multimode filter and the ADSR VCA. So that's a very simple way to make basically a paraphonic voice out of all the WMD SSF stuff. And I'm just using our trigger sequencer prototypes Metron to trigger my ADSR VCA, which is controlling the VCA as well as the MMF. So that's how I'm getting the rhythmic elements. And then the accompaniment is coming from an Arpitecht. I have the root disabled, and so on step 1, I'm just hitting C, going up the octaves. And then as I step through, I'm just changing the notes input with the steps. So it's a very similar process between the TRIAD and the Arpitecht and how I'm sequencing both. All right, so let's just do that from scratch. We'll take our 4 steps and we'll just zero everything out real quick. And we'll do like a C major chord progression and just kind of see what we can do. So I'm gonna re-enable my root on my Arpitecht. Turn up our volume here. So yeah, I've got one lane going into notes on the Arpitecht, one lane going into TRIAD on the TRIAD. And we'll select the chord on triad for the first. All right, so cool. C major chord. Want to go up to like A minor or something. Okay, so there's my like C major to A minor. And we can switch the inversions. And so why don't I do that with CV? I'll grab another cable. Take another lane from my voltage block and plug that into the inversion input. And basically I can switch through. I like that high one. And then we'll go to that A minor chord. And I switch the inversion to be first inversion there. And I need to change my note on my Arpitecht to sound a little bit more in. So there we go. So now I've got nice little C major to A minor. And then why don't I go to F here? So there's an F major chord. And again, it's very, very helpful to sequence everything. I like to sequence everything in the key of C because you have a readout from C to C. And so it's really easy to see that. I said C like 1,000 times, but you know, you get the idea. So it's really easy to see the chords when you're looking at a C major or a C scale. So if you're using C major or C minor, and then you can make your chord progressions and then transpose to the key you want to play, or tune your oscillators to the key you want to play in. And it's also very helpful to do a little bit of research on inversions. So as I was saying earlier, you know, I've got C major, this is in root position, but here this is an A minor in an inversion. And then same thing in the F, this is another inverted chord. So it's really nice to be able to see that and know what you're doing. Now we'll change my Arpitecht to give me a little bit more of a F sounding chord. And I still got my root enabled, and that sounds all right. And then for my last chord, I'm going to go to G. So we're going to go, so we'll start on the triad. And so this is G. And as you can see, there is no root enable switch on the triad. So unlike the Arpitecht where you have to disable the root of the scale, you can actually move around chords in the triad, which is super helpful. And then we'll get our Arpitecht to match some sort of nice G sounding chord. That's basically it. That's how we recommend to use the triad. So again, you can change the inversions with CV, but it really, really helps to have a multi-lane sequencer such as voltage block, pressure points, orbitals from hex inverter, any sort of analog style step sequencer that gives you static voltages per step. And of course, I can clock the voltage block with an external source to slowly go through my chord progressions and things like that. I just really enjoy playing it with my fingers. So yeah, that's how I do it. So thank you for watching. I hope that this taught you a little bit on how to use the triad and you get a little bit more use out of it. And until next time, have fun patching.